Well, hi everybody. This is DearMamaSal, and we're live on a Friday evening, which means it's time for us to talk about coping with life. And as usual on our Friday evening broadcast, I forgot to turn the sound off. As usual with our Friday evening broadcast, hang on 1 second, people. There we go. Try to find ways to help you save money. I've got my laptop, my tablet here because I want to be able to read the notes. And of course, there we go. Let me try and turn the sound down here. There we go. Because I want to be able to read the comments while I'm cooking. Anyway, as I was saying, it's our Friday evening broadcast and life goes on as best it can. Today we're going to be making something called a kofta or kofta. It is basically ground beef on a stick. And so it's sort of like a variation on meatballs, but a nice change, I thought. But what I also want to do is to show you how I make my little mini pita breads, because a lot of people have been asking me about that. And also how to make pretty ones if you're interested in making pretty ones. So just some ideas. And what I thought was we're going to be getting into spring in a little while, and we're going to have potluck type things. And you might be looking for some ideas what to do that looks good but doesn't take a whole lot of hard work. So what I'm going to be doing is, first of all, I'm going to do two different sorts. The first one I'm going to do is going to be the Moroccan one, which has all sorts of spices in it, except garlic, because you all know that I'm allergic to garlic. So when I do that, just imagine where you'd throw in the garlic for me, okay? And then afterwards, I'm just going to do some plain ones because, not everybody likes really spicy stuff. True? And so when I take something to a potluck, I like to give a variation of both, all right, so that people at least have a choice. Now, you don't have to. It's like, overkill, but yeah, it's who I am. So let's do it. So hi to Jody, our admin, and hi to Izzy. Good to see you, Iz, and hope you enjoy this. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this out of the way for you and get my big bowl out. And what we're going to do here is quite simply, and I'll sort of make it pretty easy for you all. I'll sort of talk to you as I put everything in. Now, for those of you who are new to our broadcast, I don't measure a whole lot of stuff. You're going to hear me say some of this, some of that, roughly a teaspoon, whatever. It's because that's the way I cook, right? I am not a methodical chef, and I admire people who can do that. For some reason, it takes all the joy out of it for me. I just like hacking things in and seeing what I come up with. So the first thing I've got is about a pound of ground beef. Now, Is is saying that she loves koftas. Learned about this meal when I was in Turkey. Right. So basically, it's very simple, and you can make it with any sort of ground meat. So if you've got ground chicken in the freezer, that will work. If you've got ground lamb, for those of you who like lamb, that works as well. And so any of those sort of things you can use. So I've got some just regular beef here. Apparently getting it out of the container is going to be the biggest challenge. Really? Be nice now. Now, this is where we do our across the country check. I know you're in Ontario, so can you check out what about half a kilo of ground beef costs over there this week? And Jody, what's it in New Hampshire? And anybody else who's watching in the background, if you live somewhere else and I'd like to help us get some idea of what meat is costing. For me, with my knife, for me, this half a pound or 500 grams cost $7, which I thought was a good deal. I wasn't unhappy about that. So that's going to go in. And I'll be interested to hear what everybody else comes up with. Next thing I'm going to do is, as you see me do regularly, I keep my plastic bags from doing my shopping so I can, rather than have gloves, I use these. So pretty darn simple. And now we're going to put in all sorts of spices. And the thing about koftas is that they really are spicy, and that gives them a whole lot of taste. But before I put all the other spices in, I'm going to put in about half a packet of onion soup. Thank you. Jody is saying 1 pound is $4.48. Okay, now what did I have? I had, just lean. It wasn't AAA, I don't think. It was just lean, this one. Okay, so interesting. So that's about $6.37. So that's cheaper in New Hampshire than it is here in Southern California. I'm sorry, Isabel. Isabel's reminding me she isn't in Ontario at all. She's in Quebec. Sorry, sweetie. So in Quebec, about $5.99 when it's on special. So I'm just going to throw in, so this is some onion soup mix. Why? Because onion soup mix has all sorts of stuff in it to start with, so it makes it nice and easy. So I put in about half a packet. And then I'm just going to put that into a Ziploc type bag because I don't want it to get damp. So we'll just take the air out of it. There we go. And that can go back in my pantry, my small pantry, as opposed to my big one, which is elsewhere. All right, so we got some of that. Now then, we're going to put in some chili powder. Give it a bit of kick. Okay, we're going to put in some cumin seeds. Okay. We're going to put in some paprika. Oh, not that much. Okay. We're going to put in some ground cinnamon. Not too much. I know this sounds strange, but we're going to put in some allspice. And then I'm going to put in some ginger, some ground ginger. Okay. And then I'm going to put in some ground pepper. Quite a bit. There we go. And then I don't normally cook with salt, as you know, but on Fridays I do. This is lemon pepper, salt with lemon and pepper in it. So we're going to put some of that in. And that should be quite tasty. I'm going to turn on my little griddle thing here. And now let's get that all incorporated. I think that's everything that needs to go in. Oh, I'm going to put some breadcrumbs. Oh, an egg. Where did I put the egg? There we go. I'm going to put in an egg. at room temperature. And then I've got some freshly made breadcrumbs. So I'll throw some of that in to help bind it. And now I'm just going to mix it all up. So it's not coming through there. Now, for those of you who are at the lunchtime broadcast, you know, I was saying I just got my money back on my air fryer that hadn't arrived. Well, of course, as soon as I did that, I walked out to go for a walk between the two broadcasts, and guess what was sitting on my doorstep? So I'm going to have to decide whether I want to keep it, take the risk again, or send it back unopened. So I'll make that decision tomorrow. I don't have to make that decision today. I probably will keep it, which means I've got to then pay them their money again. So there we go, nice and easy. Doing it with plastic bags like this means your hands don't get all nasty. And then all you have to do is just turn the bag inside out. And just managed to put raw meat in there, just like that. Of course. It's one of the joys of doing it live. All right, so now then, the interesting thing about doing these is I did put some little skewers in water about an hour or so ago. And, you get different sorts of skewers. You can have, I quite like these because they've got a little place on it. And what I'm going to do is to write spice on some of these so people know that one's the one with the spice and the other ones are the ones that have not got spice in them. But really all you do, once you've got it all mixed up like this for a kofta, is you just literally take as much as you want, and that's probably a little bit too much. Yeah, and you just wrap it around your skewer. So it's like meatballs on a stick. Does that make sense to everybody? Now, what I'm doing is once I've got it on the stick, I'm just pressing it down to get it as even as I can so that it will cook evenly. So there we go. That's simple. And that is as simple as it gets. So I'm going to put that on here. And I'm going to do another one. I'm not going to do all of it because I want to cook some of this tomorrow. Or I might make them tonight. Yeah, I probably will make them tonight and then cook them before I go to the potluck tomorrow. So if you want to, you can just sort of get it shaped before you get near the skewer. Like this. It really is a sausage on a stick, isn't it? That's really what I'd have to say. Oh, I forgot an ingredient. Back to square one. Oh, well, that one can go without. I forgot an ingredient. I forgot to put some cilantro in there. So I'm just going to just break in a couple of bits. And you can, if you've got a bit of the stalk there, just, make that so it's not hard. It's not going to make any difference. If you want to, you can just literally chop it in like this. Some people would put in mint. And you can put both in fact, if you want to. This I'm just going to have with cilantro, and I've got. Okay, let's do that again. And I don't think you can see that, so let me just reorganize here so you can see what I'm up to. Still not good. You can just see it. All right, let me give it a bit more clay. Once I've finished with this, it'll be easier to show you. There you go, you can see that now. Okay. Now the reason, as I said, that some people really do like spicy things, but other people don't. So what I would recommend is being aware of, doing what you can for both. Now that first one was a pretty thick one, and I'm probably going to have that one for dinner, but I think these can be not so big, not so much meat. And quite honestly, there's nothing to stop you making them and then, cutting them in half. So you've got half one of these on a skewer. You can serve them with or without the skewer. Both is perfectly acceptable. Oh, I need my tongs here. Yum. Smells good already. Now, as with anything to do with ground beef, please make sure that you cook it to well, at least well done. It just isn't worth playing around with it. Yeah, it's interesting. Isabel's saying, I love the smell of those on a barbecue. It brings me back to the days when I was in Turkey. Yeah. So Jody's saying, I love these Friday night cooking experiments, Sal. I get inspired every week. Thank you for your hard work and dedication to bring us these wonderful ideas. Well, I'm always looking for something that's not going to cost a whole lot of money, but maybe will make a nice change. And I'm hoping when I do the next bit, you're all going to really enjoy even more. Because we're going to get creative next. So I'm just doing these for my supper tonight. I think 2 will be just fine. So we know that a portion of meat is about 2 to 3 ounces like this. And so therefore, don't overdo the size of these. So I'm going to put this away so we can move on to the next part. And then what I've got in the fridge is another similar amount. And I will cook those up without any of the spices in it. I just want to get this back into the fridge. And how many of you know that it's going to overnight, all those spices are going to permeate into all that ground meat, and it's going to have even more goodness to it. So this is the fun bit for me, all right? And I'm going to probably spend most of tomorrow morning doing this bit that I'm about to show you. I'm just trying to yeah. The reason, by the way, that I always soak the bamboo sticks before we do it is just so that you're not burning wood. All right. You can do these obviously on a barbecue. I've just got my little plate here that I like to do things on when I'm cooking with you guys, because you can then see what's happening, hopefully. And now what we're going to do is have even more fun. Now, Jody, just remind me, if you will, to make the sauce to go with it. You know, that's the cucumber and lime and yogurt sauce that you can go put on it afterwards, because that's a really tasty thing to do. But in the meantime, I made some bread dough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some really pretty little goodies. Now, what I wanted to do was to show you my plan. My plan was to take these and put about half one. Can I cut that? Yes, I can cut that. It'll probably fall apart a bit, but we'll make a plan. It'll be worth it. Okay, so now I'm just going to take half that and make it more into a cube. It looks more like a meatball now. Doesn't matter. Same taste. And I'm just using my tongs to sort of hold it together. There we go. All right, so now you've got both ways of doing, all right? One is you can have it along on a stick, but what I want to show you is this, and there's a reason why I want to show it to you this way. Because while that is cooking, I'm going to take one of these bread rolls. Now, for those of you who want to know, I just made a multigrain bread. Let me see if I can show you. This multigrain has got, I started with, I think, 2 cups of white flour, 1 cup of a mix of rye flour and whole wheat flour. And then into that, you can probably see I've got some flax seeds and also some chia seeds in there. So it's got lots of good stuff in there. And what we're going to do, no wonder I can't find it, it's right in front of me, is to, oh, do not hit the hot plate. Just going to roll that out a little bit. Now you don't want it too thin, so I've rolled it to about, I'm just going to let it sort of contract back again, but it's about that thick. Got it? And then, for all of you who know, I've got this, which I make bread in sometimes, but what I'm going to do is use that as a cutter. And now I've got a little mini pita that I hope will rise up, and then I will cut it in half and we'll put the kofta in between. So I'm just going to put that on there, and then we'll do the next one. How many of you going, Sal's having fun? Now, you can do this with all sorts of different things. I'll show you in a minute with a wine glass so that you can see it doesn't really matter what you use. Just be aware that you can do it. So I've got the next bit rolled out, and I'm just going to do that. There we go. Isn't this just so cute? Now, one thing you'll find about making these is you need to turn them a couple of times before they really start puffing up. Just be patient with it. So let's do 2 like that, but what I want to show you is some done with a wine glass, okay? So here's some more of my dough. Just want to turn these over. Yum. The kid in me is a happy camper. All right, so let's just get this rolled out a bit. So again, I have, oh, I forgot. In this dough, I also have oats. So I've got 1 cup or 2 cups of white flour, 1 cup of oats, 1 cup of a mix of rye and whole wheat. And then I've got a lot of, threw in the chia seed and the flax seed. So it ends up being quite a multi-grain event. All right, so I'm just going to take a wine glass. Everybody got a wine glass somewhere in their house, I hope. And then all I'm going to do is use that as a cutting tool. And that makes a very nice little round pita, if you want it, right? All right, there we go. So I'm going to put this back in. I will be using that again after the broadcast. So now I'm not sure, Isabel, how you had yours, but I like mine to be a little bit crispy. That to me gives it even a better flavor somehow. So let me know how you like yours. There we go. It's beginning to do nicely. Yum. Now I'm also going to just push the pita into that fat that's coming off the meat, because that will give it even more taste. Now these will, the little baby pitas will take a little while to cook, and I probably will put them in the oven just to finish, because or I'll just watch them here, I think. So you understand you could thread these small bits back on a skewer with bits in between. Yes. Okay. So interesting. Isabel's saying she's never had them without garlic. Well, I as you know, I can't put garlic in there, otherwise I won't be able to do a broadcast. So it's up to you, what you put in. I think one of the things to remember, you put in what you like to eat. All right. Yes, you could eat some and then go to work afterwards if you don't put garlic in. That's true. That's very thoughtful. So I'm hoping what you can see is, as these start to cook a bit more, which they're beginning to, I want you to get creative now. Think about, I'm going to cut these little baby pitas in half, and then I'm going to put in one of these little, meatball type things. All right. But first of all, how about this? You could turn them into little mini burgers, which would be really cute. So I've got some live growing lettuce here, and so I want you to imagine, half one of these little baby pitas, a slice of lettuce. I'm going to put in half a baby bell. How many? Anybody getting hungry yet? Half a baby bell. For those of you who don't know what baby bell is, it's a smoked cheese. So it'll go beautifully with all those spices. And it comes like this, and you just peel the wax off it. Now, normally I would do the pitas in my toaster oven, which is below here, but it will be too much heat for up here, so I'm just doing it this way to make it easy for you to see it all. Looking good. So let me take one of these and cut it in half. And it probably won't be quite done, but I'll just put it back on the grill to finish. Nearly done. So I'm just going to put it there. It's, as I said, a bit like a slider. Nearly done. Take that one, cut it in half. Yeah, nearly done as well. So this is just butter lettuce that I have here. And all I'm going to do is to put one half the top, and then one half and then just let that cool a little bit first of all. But you can understand, you can just make little baby burgers out of it. Which is what I'm making for my dinner. So we're just going to do that. I'm going to put on some of that cheese on each one. Then I'm going to put on, just want to make sure they're done. Now, I like to take my ground beef to 165. I sort of feel safe, and that is already there. See that? So that's done. Yeah. Take the second one. Make sure it's done. I don't know about the rest of you, but I'd rather be doubly sure. This is already way over, so that's good. That's all done. Put that on top. Balance. There we go. Now, this is not a true cocktail because it would all stay on the stick. But I wanted to show you how much fun you can have with them. So now, put the tomato on top. And then, whoops. Can you see they make really nice little mini burgers? Pretty as can be. And you can obviously, just add mayo to them or anything else that you want. I'm just going to get this more on the stick. But don't you think that is a fun thing to take to a potluck? And then here's what I'm going to do with it. You see, I've got a small cabbage here. What I'm going to do is just put them all on a small cabbage like this. And can you imagine it covered in these? All right. Now, don't you think that's a really pretty way to make baby burgers, 1 or 2 bite burgers for people? I know you're asking me, what does it taste like, Sal? Well, I need to get that meat cooled down a little bit before I tell you. So now I'm going to do the round ones, just so you can see. Oh. And these, remember, I just cut with a wine glass, right? So I'm just going to cut those in half. Yep, it's well done. And pretty sure that's done too. Yep. This one in half. Now, obviously, these would be great to make on a barbecue if you wanted to. Yeah, but not quite. bottom. That's the bottom. Now, I guess what I have to say is it's up to you whether you want to do round ones or fancy shaped ones. How many of you are going, you know, if it's Easter, you could take out the Easter Bunny cookie mold and make little baby bits of bread in the shape of bunny rabbits and things. I'm certain somebody I know has got that. But, you know, it's just like this way. It's just better than just straight, right? In my view. And from my experience, it tastes so much better when it looks pretty. What do you think? Now, you know, you pray I don't trip over myself on the way to the potluck. And one of the things about potluck is to remember you don't have to feed everybody. You know, you're just doing your contribution to it. So I'm going to just cut these in half. There we go. Yeah, put some lettuce on. Put some cheese on. And put some meat on. Some tomato on. Wait, people. Wait. Oh, yeah. A bit more black pepper on there. Then I'm going to put the top on. And if you wanted to, just so that, you know, the different ones, like some of them will be spicy and some are not, what I would do is think about adding something different for the ones, you know, that are spicy, for example. Like put a grape tomato on top. Yeah. Make sense? Or maybe a little cube of cheese, something to make it different. All right, so there we go, our piece of cheese. And meat. Tomato. Okay. What do you think? A little bit labor intensive, but how many of you are going, oh yeah, that's worth doing? What do you think? Now, you don't have to do them all like that. I'd like to suggest that that is the centerpiece. And then you can do just, you know, easier ones, just with the meat. And Jody, did you get a picture for me? Pretty sure you probably did, but well, it's sort of, don't you think it's cute? How many of you want to pop over and have one with me? Of course, a bit of bacon on there would have just taken it to another level. And thanks, Jody. And we did that, all of it, in an hour with all the talking and everything in between. Now, I could have mass produced these in the oven, which is what I will do tomorrow. All right, so it wouldn't have been that we only made 4. And what I will do is I will pre-cook. Let me show you. I will pre-cook tonight some little baby Peter halves, like a clam, and then I just have to put them together tomorrow with a skewer through them. And they will stay quite nicely in the fridge overnight. They won't, they'll be great. So what I intend to do, the spicy ones, the regular ones will be in the clam shells, and the spicy ones will be the ones not in the clam shells. So what ideas came to you as you watched me do this? That's what I want to know. Let's get really creative. What else could you have put on here? How many of you are going, yeah, I think I'd like to do that for a barbecue? And by the way, what if the family was putting them together? Like maybe somebody's cooking the little bits on the grill, and somebody is making the bread, little bread pitas, and then somebody else is putting them together. You could have quite an assembly line going that would make it fun. And I would like to suggest that these would be as good cold as they are hot. That is my thought. And I'm just tasting little bits of this because I want to have the rest of it for my dinner. And even this spicy one isn't that bad at all. I didn't overspice it, I'm glad to say. It's just spicy enough that, you get that spicy taste to it, but it's not, I didn't overkill, which I'm happy about. Now, that tastes really good though. This summer by the pool. Absolutely. Now, how much can you do ahead of time? That would be the question. If you think about it, you could cook all the meat ahead of time if you wanted to and just warm it up. You could cut all the little cheese, baby bell cheeses beforehand, just have them in the fridge overnight. You could use the grape tomatoes and just thread them on at the last minute. So the pitas you can do the night before. So really, if you have company coming, you could do most of it the night before, and then just warm up the meat on the grill just before you serve them. What do you think? What else would you put on them? Let's get creative. What do you think? Obviously, any sort of cheese. You could put brie cheese on there so that it slides off it, or anything like that. You could put a small mushroom in it if you wanted to. I agree with you, Jody. So colorful and creative, and who wouldn't love to see that at a party? All right. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I've got this, and then it's probably still too hot. If you can imagine, I'm going to put that in the center, all right, and then put the other ones around it. And I'll put a few more on here, and then the other ones will go around it. And I will just I'm going to cut the bottom of this a little bit more flat because I can tell it's going to wobble otherwise. But then the other thing is this. What if they don't eat it all? How many of you think I'll have stuff coming back to me? Not much, I don't think. But here is the thing. Even if stuff came back, all right, I would just take it apart and use the lettuce and tomato and cheese in salad for the week. I'd probably just hang on to the little baby pitas and make little ones during the week. Obviously I wouldn't want it all to get soggy all the time, so I'd take it apart, but very easy to keep just having a couple. Jody, in terms of being healthy, it's multigrain dough. It is just pure beef. Nothing, a little bit of multigrain breadcrumbs in it. An egg, that's protein as well. And some slices of tomato and lettuce. It's not that bad, I don't think, for you. How many do you think you would need to have a meal? I would think probably 2. Remembering, 1 or 2, depending on what your appetite is like. And you probably want to see me eat one, right? See if it all falls apart. Yeah, I thought it sounded pretty healthy. All right, let me see if I can eat one of these. And then we'll make the next thing. Apparently getting it out of here wasn't as easy as getting it in. There we go. All right, so I personally would probably chew it off here, but no, let's do it the sensible way. Okay, so you definitely need a plate. But that is so tasty. Mm. I want to tell you, and I'm glad that I sort of grilled the pitas a little bit, because that makes it, you can probably hear, makes it a little crispy. What I like is that the meat is a little bit warm, not very. The cheese is a little bit gooey, not a lot. The lettuce is fresh. The tomato is crisp. So you've got all sorts of different textures together, which I think make it interesting. So, how many of you want to try that? Now, it's not a pure it's not pure kofta, but the point is, I never do pure anything. I start off going, oh, that sounds like something fun to make. And then, of course, while I'm thinking about it during the week, I then think, yeah, but what if I turn them into slided? And then what if, and I do that all the time, as you know. So, easy version, put the meat on the stick, barbecue it. This is take it up a tad and turn it into a gourmet potluck. I want to tell you that is good. That was only one. 2 is plenty. Just so you know. And 3, because you know I'm going to have 3 later. 3 would be overkill, but I deserve it. Brilliant idea. So you can even just have them on a plate like that. What do you think? Is it better just on plates like this? What do you think? Or do you like it in the cabbage? Or both, maybe, right? Because this does look pretty appetizing. I so want to try the next one. Okay. So I'm going to put that away for now. And I'm going to cut that so it stays solid. Both. Okay, so it's the centerpiece and then and more like this around it. Obviously, in the summer, you could have flowers in it as well. You know, it could be really gorgeous. But I think you'll agree, easy enough to do, right? I think you don't have to be a gourmet cook to be able to do it. Add in with my other tomatoes. And I think, you know, using the little grape tomatoes on top makes it really pretty as well. And I will do some with little pieces of cheese on top and some with some grape tomatoes on top, depending on whether they're spicy or not. That was way good. Okay. Now then, the magic sauce. When you're doing it just straight koftas on their own, you know, just meat on a stick. That's it. Then it's a good idea to do the dip with it. I can never say, you know, Jody, just type it for me so I can say it correctly. I want to say Tzatziki, but it's like that. And really, that is just a combination of some yogurt, some cucumber. What I would recommend, though, when you're doing the cucumber, put it in if you've got a nut bag, just put the cucumber in the nut bag and squeeze most of the liquid out of it. All right, because you don't want the liquid. So you just mix that and a little bit of lemon juice and some cracked black pepper. And there you've got a beautiful dip. So you just take the kofta as it is on a stick, you dip it in your little dip thing. And I've got some, you know me. I've got a whole series of these. Tzatziki. Tzatziki. Did I get that right the second time? That's what the cucumber and yogurt mix is. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is put little bowls of this out like this. And these obviously have come from little individual servings of fruit that I've had during the year. And they're great in the summer for making little sauces and things. So I will do some with the yogurt in it. I will do some with some honey mustard, because, you know, somebody's going to want the honey mustard. And then I will do some with mayo and tomato sauce type stuff, you know. Just make a couple of different ones and put those. Just put those around. Get the idea? Difficult to see the white on there, but put those around. Fine. Or put them all into a muffin pan, and that'll do as well. Depending on how many of these I make, right? Pretty easy. What do you think? So, not a great deal of cost. I would think I made 4. So I bought $7 of meat, and I made 4. This will make at least another 8, I would think, if not 10, right? Depending on how big I make them. All right. So, and then I'm going to keep some at home, of course, and freeze them for another day. And then I will do the plain ones and do those as well. And I'll make some more clamshell pita. All right, so everybody understand how I make the clamshell one? Or do you want to see one made? I'm happy to do it if you want to see it made. It just, but I really, all you do is you just take a round of dough and roll it out to about, this much. Put it in the oven. I put it in the oven. It works really well in the oven at about 350 for 15 minutes. And then turn it over for another 15. Slice it in the center. If it's not perfectly done, you can just leave it in there just while the oven cools, and it'll be done by the time it's cooled. And then you've got really nice pita breads. And so if you imagine it's a round, I cut it in half and then cut it this way. So each one makes 2 clamshells. Each one of these buns will make 4. This will make 2, which will become another 2 there. So each one of these, this is 4 ounces of dough I use, and it will make 4 clamshells. All right, 4 halves. Well, yeah, 4 halves. Easy. And this is just going to stay in the fridge overnight, and it'll be all ready to go tomorrow. Or while I'm busy watching television tonight, I might cook some. Just depends how I feel. If I can get the kitchen tidied up quickly, I'll probably cook some tonight. Any questions? Suggestions? Speak now. By the way, you could use romaine lettuce as well as butter lettuce. I got in an extra butter lettuce so that I could do it with butter lettuce tomorrow. So that's what I wanted to show you. Pretty darn simple. And quite honestly, yes, butter lettuce is a treat. And quite honestly, if you don't take it all the way down to the bottom, sometimes it starts growing all of its own. So you can sometimes get 1.5 butter lettuces out of one. Anybody want to see the potato? And this may be the last time I move the potato. And you will understand why when you see it. Yeah, I thought you would want to, Jody. Hold on 1 second. So remember, I started it all the way down here. And just as it grew, I kept adding to the tower and then filling it up with more coconut fiber. And now it's come all the way out. I probably am going to put one more thing on it and fill it up again. But isn't that amazing how it's grown? So you can understand why it's probably the last time you're going to see me move it until I take it apart. And then what will happen is at the end of April, I will take off the bottom one and see if we've got anything in there. And by the way, if we don't have anything in there, was it still fun to do? All right. How many of you know I've had a lot of fun doing it? So that's good. Next thing. What am I going to do with the rest of this cilantro? Because this is fresh. It came in this week, but it's not going to stay fresh very long. All right. So here's what I do. I think you all know this. Is I will take it like this. I will get some paper towel. And the trick is try not to put too many leaves over other leaves. All right? So just put it on your paper towel like this, like your parents used to do in the olden days. And then just roll it up. And when you've got it rolled up, bend it over like this, secure it. You can use just a bulldog clip, all right? Write on it what it is. Find a pen. You can do this, though. If you can't find a pen, find a marker. So all I need to put on there is sil to remind me that that's cilantro. Okay. Question is, does it work? How many of you remember when I did that to parsley at least a month ago? You remember I did the same thing? Let me show you. Now, I've already used quite a bit of the parsley, but this is one lot that I haven't opened yet. So I'm going to put this away carefully first. Hold on a second. I don't want to tempt fate this. If you do the potato tower, please put the bottom one in something that's waterproof, you know, like a Tupperware or something. I found that mine started to leak, and I didn't notice that until it had done leaked quite a bit. All right, so here is the parsley that we put. I think we did this about January. It kept its color, and I can choose to either crumble it on something, or if I want it to be, look like almost fresh, I would just drop it in some water about half an hour before I want to use it. Look at that. And that way, Jody, could you do me a favor, please, honey? Could you look at the price of a bottle of dried parsley versus a bunch of dried parsley? And the reason I say that, this is mint that I grew, dried, and put in a bottle last summer. All right? So the bottle you buy once, and then you buy the fresh herbs and dry them yourself. You've got to admit that this wasn't what you call hard work. Needed a bit of paper towel. You could do it on with a little bit of a tea towel if you want to. You know, if you don't want to do the paper towel route, you can use blotting paper. You can use almost anything that will absorb, the moisture. And that's all that I did. I literally put, the bulldog clip at the bottom, and that's it. I did write on there that it was parsley. And so this evening, before I go to bed, I will wrap all this up and put it somewhere, probably put it in my greenhouse window here, all right? And just let it dry in the dark, because that's what you're doing. You're rolling it up in paper towel to keep it dark. If you keep it dark, it will keep its color. And what I really wanted to show you is how much money you can save on your herbs doing it that way. Fresh parsley is just 98 cents. To buy the bottle of dried would cost you $2.86. Buy the bottle once and then dry your own. So all I did was buy one bunch of fresh cilantro, and that will last me nearly a year. Maybe 6 months to a year. Good idea? And what I want you to see, it's not difficult. If it were difficult, I wouldn't be doing it. Now, some of you may want to know, what does coffee with parsley in it taste like? I would have to say an acquired taste. So that's it. I hope that you found this a little bit of a, okay, fine, I could do that. I hope that your creative mind was thinking, I could add a piece of pineapple on top of there, or a peach, half a peach on top. Wouldn't that be interesting? There's so many different ways. A fresh raspberry on top would look absolutely gorgeous. So it's just, these things are just up to you how creative you want to get. But what I like about it is that most of it you can make ahead of time. And that to me is the joy of it, all right? That you don't have to do it all on the day and get stressed out. This is DearMamaSal saying, kofta is really just meat on a stick. Unlike a kebab, kebab is a chunk of meat on a stick. A kofta is minced ground beef on a stick, or ground chicken on a stick, or ground lamb on a stick, or ground pork on a stick, right? You can do it with any, or you could pack the whole lot in together. So, it's up to you what you do. It's just like a sausage on a stick without skin on it. Pretty healthy, protein bite. And you can either leave it as one long one, which is great, or you can have fun with it as I did and make little mini burgers out of it. This is DearMamaSal saying, I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. And we'll see you next time. Jody, thanks for your help and your research as usual. You did a wonderful job to help on that one. We'll see you on Sunday. Bye-bye for now.